What is going on, everybody? This is a long overdue video and also backed by popular demand. Many of you guys have been asking for some time that I do a revisit or a re-review, just some reflections on the GR8FLEX sliding bench trainers. And I'm also going to revisit the question and give you guys my own personal thoughts and opinions on what is better, a GR8FLEX or a Total Gym, because at this point in time, these are the two most competitive sliding bench trainers right now on the market. Now you guys will see in front of me and throughout this video, courtesy of GR8FLEX, they were very generous enough to send me a new machine to do this video. Now I already have a GR8FLEX, but I gave that to my nephew a couple of years ago. He's actually in high school now. He's a high school quarterback, does his conditioning workouts, but still uses the GR8FLEX I gave him in his home gym. And so that makes this machine my 10th sliding bench trainer. I know that is insane. I think it's insane as well. I've had some people ask me, dude, why do you need so many Total Gyms or sliding bench trainers? And the answer I always give them is, I don't need that many. It's just the nature of the beast of this channel. I talk about these things. People want to see different machines. They want to see used machines, old machines. And so the vast majority of all the machines I purchased, I have given away. But that again, this makes it the 10th machine. So I'm trying to thin the herd a little bit, but I will be keeping this one because I know GR8FLEX has a lot of interesting plans in the future for new products, new attachments, and a lot new things coming in the future. So this one I definitely plan on keeping. I really like this color. This is the Black Carbon color model that they put out. So of course we will get into reviewing this machine and some updated thoughts on GR8FLEX as a whole as a company, but just to be upfront, this is not a paid promotional endorsement video. I was not paid to do this at all. My main motivation in doing this video was just because you guys kept asking me to keep talking about my new thoughts about the company and how it kind of compares to a Total Gym. So I will be as honest as possible, but GR8FLEX did want me to share an offer they are putting together out there for limited quantities. They told me they have about 25 units of this particular model up until about November 1st. Along with this machine and these attachments, it's gonna come with some new mats. It's gonna give you guys kind of a bonus storage container, which is very useful. I'm already taking advantage of it. Wish I had this thing sooner. Just a loose spot to kind of put all my loose ends and attachments on. And then on top of that, they're gonna include their upgraded additional resistance bands, which I don't even have those yet. I really want to try those out, and I'll talk about that in the future. But all that stuff is gonna be bundled together in a special package. If you guys use the promo code Great Mike here, flash on the screen, also linked down below. That's where you get this kind of limited edition package. They said shipping is also included in that price. So I do get a meager kickback out of that if you guys do want to help support me in the channel. But as always, I try and don't really push any particular model of a sliding bench trainer that hard because they all have their pros and cons. I talk about new machines, I talk about used machines. So really up to you if you guys want to take advantage of that. First thing I do want to get into is give an update on GR8FLEX as a company, because that was one of the biggest concerns I had about them when I first started initially reviewing their products and comparing them to Total Gym. And also maybe one of the reasons I started maybe slightly, but very slightly kind of recommending Total Gym over a GR8FLEX was because I just didn't know a whole lot about them. I thought they might be kind of a fly-by-night company. Their lifetime warranty and all their parts and accessories, which I'll talk about probably again, even on the machine, was very competitive, almost sounded too good to be true. But I've learned a lot about them, that they are not based out of China. They're actually, I think, based out of Canada, but they also have offices, I think, that just opened up in the United States as well. I've talked with them a few times. They're very nice, good people. They've definitely helped me out. They're very vocal and easy to get a hold of. But then also on top of that, what I've heard from you guys as far as the lifetime warranty is concerned, that if any part breaks, and again, it's across the board on their parts and the machine, if something's off or you don't like something or whatever, they replace it and take care of it pretty much immediately. And I've heard that throughout the years, and I have tons of emails of people talking about that, and really have been meaning to kind of make a video just discussing that one particular thing, that when they say lifetime warranty at this point in time, they kind of mean it. Also, it's interesting, I've kind of reviewed their dumbbells as well, which they also graciously sent me. They're looking into kind of getting into other aspects of the fitness market. But my point is, I think they're here to stay. They definitely have very high aspirations of pushing their company forward. And I think they're gonna be here to, especially in a competitive market with the sliding bench trainers, they're gonna be pushing the limits on some new things in the future. So that's also really cool to hear. And I know for a lot of you guys that are overseas, this is also kind of the default machine of choice, because some of you guys have a hard time just getting a hold of a Total Gym. These guys do ship to 12 countries, and they said even if you're outside of those 12 countries, if you email them at info@GR8FLEX.com, they can probably make it work for you as well. You just got to contact them directly. Also encourage you guys to check out their website and also a YouTube channel. They have a free library on their website with, like, I think over 100 workout exercises. They have live product demonstrations. I think you can actually even go in and schedule like a demo either online or in person. So I think that's at GR8FLEX.com forward/demo, so that's also a really cool opportunity. Now getting into this specific model, this black carbon, which I think is probably the best color. I think for me personally, I had the military one that also was really cool, and I'll talk about that briefly, about one little update of something I want to tweak of something I said in the past. But very cool color. It is more or less the same, so I don't want to rehash the exact same review I've done before, because all that is still pretty much the same, and I'll link that review above here and also down below in the description box. There are some minor differences of some things I think that were updated, which I'll also address. The GR8FLEX is extremely comparable to the Total Gym Fit, which I think is like the best Total Gym model. I've kind of said if you kind of flip a coin, whatever it lands on, if you choose one of these models, they're almost the same experience, but there are certainly some big differences, which we'll get into here in a second. Compared to the Fit though, this thing does have a slightly bigger build. I think I said in the initial video, it's a tad bit higher. There are more stock increments on this model. The GR8FLEX utilized, which I really like a lot, just the carabiner system with the cables. It's very easy to kind of replace these cables and attach them when they come out of the box. So I like that a lot. And some of you guys have done some interesting things with this little metal loop down here. You can, of course, replace the cables and upgrade the rollers if you want to. I've heard from Randy from Huck Products, who puts out really awesome just replacement parts for Starting Men's trainers, some of the best in class. That the rollers on this are essentially the same compared to the Total Gym Fit. You can take that as it will. I said that the glide on this feels a little bit smoother compared to a Total Gym, but honestly it's almost minimal. And I think the glide difference is just because of this coating here. This is much more of a smoother kind of coat. And I would say even the paint job on this, it seems even a little bit different on this black chrome compared to the military model, if I remember correctly. But paint looks awesome. There's no chipping whatsoever out of the box. The cable system is a little bit longer compared to other Starting Men's trainers I've tried, and that has a good thing and bad thing. I think overall it's a good thing to have a longer stock cable. The only negative side of this, if I put some extra extension here, like my swivels and everything else, it can maybe be a little bit too big, but otherwise a little bit longer cable. I think if you're on the taller side, this might kind of serve you pretty well. What makes GR8FLEX really stand apart, which we'll get into specifically here in this video, is the fact that they have resistance bands as an added option to increase resistance. My initial review, I said I didn't like them as much. I've actually kind of grown to really love these and kind of prefer these, but I'll talk about these in a second. You can upgrade these, of course, but these are actually my old ones. I went to my military model. I just forgot to give these to my nephew. You actually can double load these. I actually tried that out. So they come on this one up to 50 pounds. It's the same exact weight increments. They're just different colors on this new model, but otherwise the military model came with black. Now, one of the great things about GR8FLEX is the fact that it comes with a very competitive number of attachments. You really don't need anything else than what comes in their stock package. They essentially give you everything. Unlike Total Gym, where they would kind of have like special bundles and packages, and some definitely are better than others, GR8FLEX basically gives you everything but the kitchen sink. And the other cool bonus is that, let's say there is a Total Gym attachment that maybe you particularly like a squats, like maybe their squat stand versus the GR8FLEX one, or you want their Pilates bar attachment, those will all actually fit on the GR8FLEX. There are some things that won't fit, like for example, the cyclo trainer. I'm personally not a fan of that anyways, but the point is anything that fits in that bottom little attachment that would fit on the Fit would actually fit on the GR8FLEX. Now I want to get into some new thoughts I have about the machine and also some corrections I may have said in past videos. So first and foremost, when I did my initial review of the GR8FLEX, I had the military model, and a big concern of mine, I said it might just be specific to that particular color and model, but I guess across the board it doesn't really matter. That model has like kind of a hard canvas, and some of you guys actually preferred that anyways, but my concern was if I'm sweating a lot, like you guys are gonna see in this video, is I didn't want that sweat kind of sinking into that fabric and there'd be no way of kind of like wiping it off and cleaning it just a little bit harder. And they told me underneath that layer of canvas, whatever's kind of topping that glide board, there is a layer of nylon that actually waterproofs the glide board, so that is very good to know. I'm assuming that's also the case on all their glide boards, but this also has, looks like a vinyl, different type of fabric on top of it. But the point is, this thing is waterproof sealed, so bacteria and like moisture doesn't kind of build up and get into the padding. So that's definitely a good thing and a major correction I want to say. The other thing, according to them, that I expressed in past videos that I thought maybe might be an issue was their squat stand integrity. So I mentioned in the past that the squat stand, I was able to kind of really bend it a little bit. My nephew still uses the squat stand. It's fine, just a little bit of a bend in it. And I can just, for whatever it's worth, the Total Gym attachments, I've said in many recent videos, I pretty much bent all the metal on those as well, but minus their particular squat stand. They did tell me from watching that video that they did actually kind of beef up the metal or the integrity of this squat stand. I will test that and let you guys know. But again, for whatever it's worth, I was pushing these machines, all my machines, to the limit. And it's not just with GR8FLEX, but any machine, I have bent the metal back. Now, to GR8FLEX's credit, what is pretty awesome is the fact that if something does break or some metal does bend or snap, you can actually contact GR8FLEX and they'll send you out another one with their lifetime warranty. Don't quote me on that. I'm pretty sure that would be covered though, but they have a very extensive warranty that does replace all their parts. Next thing is somewhat kind of minor, but I just remember this kind of thought stuck to my head, is that people were complaining, or I saw this in the comment section, that they thought this thing was kind of big and bulky and too heavy to kind of move up and down. And I'll just say right away, could it have been something improvement, but maybe it's just this model. Moving this thing up and down is very easy. You can see I'm doing with one hand, just sitting here on a bench. Now this leads us into the discussion of weight bar attachments versus variable resistance or using resistance bands. The big difference or big distinguishing factor between Total Gym and a GR8FLEX is that Total Gym likes or has the option of using a weight bar attachment, and GR8FLEX does not. They use resistance bands or variable resistance to increase their resistance. And there are certainly pros and cons of each. I was a little more critical of their resistance bands or GR8FLEXs initially. I will say I've grown to love it, and probably a lot of that has become the fact that I've been growing to love variable resistance and resistance band training recently, if you guys have been following the channel. But it is kind of funny and ironic from things I've kind of gathered. It seems like Total Gym does not like using resistance bands, and GR8FLEX does not like the use of a weight bar attachment. I will say I've asked GR8FLEX this question directly, and their argument is probably makes the most sense on paper, because their argument is if you have a weight bar attachment on there, it'll prematurely wear down the rollers. And even Randy from Hut Products has said the same thing. Now granted, if you upgraded the wheels, you have heavy duty rollers, it might not be much of an issue. But variable resistance, again, according to GR8FLEX, kind of makes the most sense. And there's certainly other sliding bench trainers that used to be out there in the market that are now gone, like the Weeder, that utilize resistance bands. I thought were awesome. What's great about them is you can actually, obviously, it's easier to kind of set on and take off. You don't have to worry about buying external weights. Much more easier, like I said, to transition between exercises versus whenever I use the weight bar attachment, I'll usually just throw weight on and kind of leave it. I don't like kind of fumbling around, kind of messing around with the weights. But I will just say, the more I've even liked variable resistance, I think in using a sliding bench trainer, the resistance bands actually make the most sense and just feel the best if I had to pick between one or the other. Now, it's not saying I don't like the weight bar attachment. And 9 times out of 10 in more recent years, and you guys have noticed this, I kind of use the weight bar attachment more so for things other than actually putting weight on. I'll actually prop my feet up on here, brace myself for various exercises. But I have told GR8FLEX, like, you know, if you put a weight bar attachment option on here, which I don't think they're really opposed to, you would really give Total Gym a run for their money, because at that point in time, once you got the resistance bands on there, all the attachment, all the bells and whistles, there's not really a big case to be said as far as what's holding up a Total Gym fit compared to a GR8FLEX. My opinions of GR8FLEX have definitely improved as the years have gone on and seen the company progress. So a lot of the concerns I had initially primarily have been kind of put to rest, at least at this point in time. The concerns, like I've addressed so far in the video, that I thought they were a young company, I thought they were an overseas company. They are still a younger company, but they're a company that still is growing. They've already projected growth. They're trying different products. They're already improving upon their pre-existing model of the GR8FLEX. They got some new things on the horizon that I know are essentially coming. Now, I think a big thing GR8FLEX should consider, this is my own personal opinion, if they ever in the future opted to throw in the weight bar attachment, objectively on paper, hands down, it'd be hard to argue the GR8FLEX machine would win out over the Total Gym fit, assuming the Total Gym doesn't start adding resistance bands. Because at this point in time, if you have the weight bar attachment, the resistance band options, I love the carabiner system, the attachments and the parts are all there, functionalities all there, this thing would win out objectively as the winner. So that's kind of my 2 cents about it, guys. Interested to hear your kind of thoughts and opinions on it. As I always say, across the board, it doesn't matter what model machine you guys have or any piece of equipment you guys got, it's the effort you guys put into it to get the results. So don't worry too much about that. At the end of the day, if you're buying a machine outright and new, it is hard to not say a GR8FLEX is not a solid choice. If the reason I haven't been talking about it as much is I just didn't have the machine, you know, with me. So that's the main reason I couldn't talk about it as much. Now that I got this thing here, you guys will be seeing me use it a lot more. I'll probably be interchanging this or like the fit once in a while if you guys want to see like a basic home model versus the commercial model GTS. But this thing is a solid machine. I've heard nothing also bad about as far as the longevity of the machine. And then again, finally, if you guys do want to take advantage of that limited time quantity, the Black Chrome Edition with all the bells and whistles, the added band attachments, you guys can go to the website and use that promo code GREATMIKE with the shipping included. And that is it, you guys. Any questions, comments, feedback, let me know. I will see you guys on the next video. Thank you.